In 2004, when the superhero genre was just beginning to evolve beyond the camp of the 1990s, Guillermo del Toro released Hellboy. It was a film that didn't simply adapt a comic, but built an entire mythology of its own. Before the Marvel Cinematic Universe taught audiences to expect quips and connected timelines, Hellboy delivered something rarer, a story about destiny, identity, and the quiet ache of being unwanted in a world that fears you. And yet, despite craftsmanship and soul, Hellboy was overshadowed. It didn't fit the mold of what Hollywood expected from comic book movies, and because of that, it has never received the recognition it deserves. Guillermo del Toro approached Hellboy not as a superhero movie, but as a fairy tale. He saw in Mike Mignola's comic a canvas to explore what he loved the most: creatures, faith, folklore, and moral ambiguity. The opening sequence, set in the closing days of World War II, establishes that tone perfectly. Occult Nazis, a rift between worlds, and a red-skinned infant pulled from hell by compassionate scientists. From that moment, the film's heart was never about spectacle. It was about what it means to be found, rather born into purpose. Del Toro built the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense like a gothic monarchy for misfits. Not the sleek headquarters of corporate heroes, but a sanctuary for beings who straddle the line between myth and man. Every corridor, relic, and shadow breathes with handmade detail. The production design isn't computer-generated grandeur, it's lived in myth. At its core, Hellboy is about identity. Ron Perlman's performance transcends prosthetics and one-liners. He imbues Hellboy with the wariness of someone trying to be good in a world that won't let him forget what he is. Beneath the cigar smoke and a stone fist is a creature who just wants to be human, to be loved, to belong. One of the most poignant scenes in the film comes when Hellboy tails Liz Sherman, his pyrokinetic love interest, through the city. As she shares coffee with John Myers, Hellboy sits atop a rooftop, bruised by jealousy, heartache, and isolation. It's not the scene of a demon yearning for power. It's a man yearning for acceptance. Few superhero films of that era dared to pause long enough to show their hero's loneliness this way. Perlman's chemistry with Selma Blair's Liz makes the film's emotional foundation rock solid. The relationship isn't romanticized, it's awkward, painful, and real. It's two damaged people trying to hold on to warmth in a cold world, and that gives Hellboy a tragic beauty that most comic book movies still lack. Where Hellboy distinguishes itself most is in its mythological depth. The story weaves together elements of Christian demonology, Lovecraftian horror, and European folklore. Rasputin's attempt to awaken Ogdru Jahad, a cosmic entity imprisoned beyond the stars, is not just a plot device, it's a reflection of Del Toro's obsession with the thin veil between science and faith, heaven and hell, good and evil. Hellboy's existence as Anug Unrama, the beast of the apocalypse, becomes the film's central moral conflict. He is born to end the world, yet raised by Professor Broom to save it. That paradox, destiny versus free will, elevates Hellboy from genre entertainment to mythic storytelling. Del Toro doesn't lecture about morality, he visualizes it. Hellboy's horn stumps, which he files down to appear more human, symbolizes his defiance against the fate written into his flesh. When he breaks them off completely during the climax, rejecting his demonic purpose, it's not just an act of rebellion, it's an act of self-definition. He isn't good because he's told to be, he's good because he chooses to be. While today's superhero films rely heavily on CGI, Hellboy thrives on tactile world building. From Coronan's wearing clockwork mask to Samael's grotesque, regenerative body, Del Toro and his team crafted physical creations that still hold up decades later. Every creature feels like it could exist not as digital noise but part of a living mythology. Cinematographer Guillermo Navarro drapes the film in a moody tone, balancing Hellboy's crimson skin against the sepia and blue of a world that never fully welcomes him. The visual contrasts mirror the story's emotional one, a bright soul trapped in a dark world. Among the film's most touching dynamics is the relationship between Hellboy and Professor Trevor Broom. Broom is not just a mentor, he's the first person to call the demon a child, to reach out instead of recoil, Their bond grounds the story emotionally, the warmth of family inside the cold of machinery of fate. When Broom is murdered, Del Toro lingers not on spectacle but on grief. Hellboy's rage feels human, not heroic. The moment transformed the story from a battle between good and evil into a meditation on loss and legacy. Hellboy's choice to honor his father's fate in him becomes his defining triumph. Released in 2004, Hellboy earned critical praise, but modest box office numbers. It arrived just before Spider-Man 2 and Batman Begins changed the superhero landscape. Del Toro's mix of gothic art, horror, and heart didn't fit the Hollywood equation. Studios wanted clean-cut heroes, not cigar-chewing demons quoting cats and dogs while punching eldritch horrors. Yet in hindsight, Hellboy was prophetic. Its moral ambiguity, emotional depth, and aesthetic boldness paved the way for films like Logan, The Dark Knight, and The Shape of Water. It proved that monsters could carry meaning, that empathy, not perfection, makes a hero. The greatest tragedy is that Del Toro never got to finish his planned trilogy. The first film planted every seed for a greater mythos. Hellboy's true heritage, the apocalypse he's meant to bring, and the love he's terrified to lose. Instead of closure, we got a reboot that misunderstood the soul of the original. We didn't need another origin story. We needed the ending we were promised, one that explored the burden of destiny and the beauty of defiance. Hellboy remains one of the most deeply human superhero films ever made. Beneath its haunts and horror lies a story about love and belonging. It doesn't beg for acceptance from the mainstream, it stands apart, defiantly as its own myth. We deserve to see Del Toro finish what he started, to watch Hellboy fulfill his journey not as a destroyer, but as a savior, who proved that even a child of hell can choose compassion over chaos. Until that day comes, Hellboy stands as a reminder. Some heroes are forged not by destiny, but by the courage to reject it.